You are now listening to the Peter and Jake Talks Wrasslin podcast, a weekly review of Monday Night Raw and other wrestling-related topics. And here's your hosts, Peter Day and Jake Grandi.
All right. Hello, we're going. We're recording. We're live. We're hot.
What's up? What's up?
Hello, people. And you want to do the introduction? I want to see how you do the introduction.
All right. Well, hey, people. This is Peter and Jake Talk Wrasslin. We got Peter. It's
hey, y'all. I'm Peter.
January 28th edition. Rumble just happened. Blizzard type of Raw. It was kind of an interesting week considering all the shit that went down.
This is the longest week of wrestling ever. I think it is the longest week of it feels like it's Wednesday?
It's Wednesday. Yeah.
It's Wednesday. It feels like Tuesday. It feels like Monday.
No Raw yet, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like with the whole Rumble backlash and how that turned out, and if you're listening to Wrestling Talk and other podcasts, it just seems like I don't know whether to say it seemed long or it seems like it seems like we've been talking about this for 2 weeks and it's only been 2 days. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, it's true. Well, I mean, what did you think? Like, did you think it was a good Rumble? I mean, I don't disagree with the backlash too much. I think people are a little aggressive with it, but I think that just comes with the
structurally it was wrong. It was put together badly. But when it came down to it, you could have as many pre-shows and many undercards. I mean, the only thing that really mattered was who was going to win that triple threat and who was going to come out victorious at the Royal Rumble. And more important, and I will almost make a comparison to the college football playoff this year. It wasn't really about I guess right here it would be about the top four, for the Royal Rumble, just like the top four for the college football playoff. But the most important thing about the college football playoff was about number 5 and number 6. The people who got snubbed, the people who could have made it into the top 4. Now, this top 4, you had what you had, but then it was like, who was the 5th and who was the 6th? And not in number, in terms of, say, Rusev and Kane, but Daniel Bryan, Dean Ambrose, and Dolph Ziggler. You know what I'm saying? And those, to me, in terms of seeding, got left out. And it's not about the people who won. It's about the people who didn't win.
Sure.
Those guys that didn't win. And it's interesting. But the Raw Rumble, very much like the other pay-per-view, what was it, Survivor Series? They put it together like a Raw.
Yeah. We'll get into that. I mean, it's kind of funny. Overall, like me, Peter, and Arthur, we pretty much neck and neck. Me and you tied with 3 wins each, and then Arthur got 2 wins. So
we beat you, sucker.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah,
eat it.
So we had a band together, just like I'm Kane, I'm Corporate Kane, he's Big Show.
Oh, you can't be the dick.
No,
I gotta be the dick.
Nah, I always saw myself as like a Kane. Like I think I can control
Corporate Kane.
Yeah, control fire a little bit. I think I can. I've always I don't know.
You control fire, all right. What I've heard. Flick, flick, flick. But so we ended up watching the Royal Rumble at I wanted to add this before you go into your.
Oh yeah, what did you think?
We watched Raw at Longshanks,
a local bar,
and there was a couple of us in there, but I got to meet your dad finally, who is a mountain of a man version of Jake. A mountain of, that's like my favorite way to describe like a big dude, but like not a big built guy, but just a big guy, and that's what Diamond Dan.
Yep.
Diamond Dan. It's like a mountain of a man, but like it's Jake. It's like a total clone. I got to meet Fritz.
Yeah.
Who's your co-host
in the Faster Than the World podcast.
That
every weekend,
and sell it, dude.
Oh, he's my uncle as well. As if you listen to the show, you know, gigantic wrestling fan. It's very interesting to watch with.
But what do you do with the podcast, man? Sell the podcast.
Oh, it's an NXT podcast. We've talked about this before. We just review NXT every week. It's real quick, real 10-minute, just real quick topic. It's just meant to maybe just kickstart the topics on Twitter and social media. Hit me up, JG Pro Wrestling to talk about it, or PJTW Central to talk about the Faster Than the World podcast. I think it's picking up a little bit.
The fastest, when I uploaded it, it got more clicks faster than any other podcast we've ever done. So that's something to be extremely proud of. I think that's something and to keep your eye on. So Fritz, and then your Uncle Bud.
Uncle Bud, he definitely grew. He was a big fan in the Crockett era, but in the 90s, he had kids, couldn't really watch wrestling as much as he wanted to, so he kind of fell off. Like when the New Age Outlaws came out, he was like, "Oh yeah, I kind of remember that." That's like when he stopped watching. So now that's like we'll give you like a perspective.
And I was saying to him, he's like, you talk about he hasn't watched wrestling, and he grew up a wrestling fan. So he's deep down, it's almost like an alcoholic, a drunk.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I will always be a drunk. He'll always be a wrestling mark, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Or a heroin addict.
Well, I mean, when I say stop watching, like, he still, like, will watch Rumble every year with us, or, like, Manias here and there. So, like, he still, like, catches, like, a few shows a year.
But I just felt bad that for him to be so away from the product for so long, and then to come back. I mean, it's not like the proudest reintroduction to the product, you know? Like,
yeah.
I would only hope, because me, you, whatever, we'll get over it. We're dealing with the product today, but like, if you're bringing someone in, whether it's their first time watching it or they haven't watched it in a while, you want it to be an experience where it's like they're actually enjoying it. And I imagine he enjoyed it, and maybe it's more me, you know, maybe he felt the same way. It was like, man, out of all the things, he should have came and saw Survivor Series, you know, not the Rumble, but oh well. And then who else? It was just those three?
Yeah.
It was just those three? Yeah, man. And I'm in love with your dad, man. I think I have a man crush on your dad. He's so cool. He's cooler than you.
Yeah, well, hey, what can you do?
I feel like I talk for hours with that guy. And we need to do something with him at least once a month, I think, for the podcast. Just sit and talk. Because he keeps up with the product, right?
Oh, yeah. He watches.
Yeah, just do like all three of us, just around, like, just discussion about, like, the wrestling world and what we do. And I'm pretty sure he'd be up for it, right? No?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Most likely.
Okay. I'm out here light up, you know? I don't know. I mean, I hate I missed out. I mean, I remember watching him as a kid. What were they called? The tag team he was in.
Oh, he was the part of the Russian Assassins.
The Russian Assassins. I remember watching the Russian Assassins, you know? But it'd been so cool just to be around him as he was going into work, you know?
Yeah.
Like post, you know, matches and stuff. But I guess back to the Rumble. What did you think?
About the overall show?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wasn't really looking forward to the undercard, and so I was kind of just waiting for the main event, the Rumble, to start. I feel like the main event delivered in excitement, like some of nitpicky stuff, but like I feel like the main event was awesome. Or the three-way, sorry, the Rumble. No, it was an awful story. They've been telling the story. It was kind of a convoluted story, like. And then the crowd really wasn't. We'll get into that. But.
Yeah. So first, we could just run through the undercard. Pre-show was.
It was supposed to be a 6-man tag, but it ended up just being
elimination. It was an elimination tag.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a 6-man elimination tag, but then they made it it was just a regular tag match. Cesaro and Kid versus Big E and Kofi
of the New Day,
and then I think.
Yeah, Cesaro and Kid got the win.
Yeah, Cesaro and Kid got the win. I didn't see the pre-show.
I didn't either.
But the highlights, I I don't even know if it was good. I'm sure it was.
It's not.
Okay.
How many times have we seen these guys face each other though? And it's like I don't see what would be different.
I mean, I think it's good. I'd rather watch them wrestle each other over and over again than the Usos and the Miz.
No, because you are marked for kid. And I mean, this boils down to it. Was there anybody else in the ring?
Well, I'm saying
in the match,
Kofi, Tyson Kidd, Cesaro are all way better wrestlers than the Usos, Miz and Mizdow. Big E can hold his own as well.
I think for what they can do versus what they can do are their own separate entities, and I think they do it well. But what they do, we'll get to the Usos match, but that was off. I mean, that was not awful. It was off. Those guys are tired. But So talk more about your boy Kid winning.
That's it. They just won. I didn't see the match.
And I don't know what's to really become of a New Day. We're still sitting back and we're wondering what the deal is with that crew. And I mean, is Cesaro and Kid going to be a tag team that they're going to get hot until they just move Cesaro to someone else? I always feel like Cesaro is like an enhancement tag team partner to get over whoever the fuck he's in a tag team with.
That seems like what they do. And then the next match is the Usos, Miz and Mizdow. That match did seem off.
It was off. They seemed heavy and winded, and they couldn't really get up in the air.
But that wasn't actually the next match. But that was kind of. I remember the one spot where one of the Usos went to dive and do a tope. And I don't know if it seemed like he jumped right, did everything. And
nope, he didn't.
The Miz just kind of stepped back. It just seemed
he jumped short and Miz stepped back.
Yeah, it was
like both spectrums meeting where Miz recreated what he did against who was that? I think it was R-Truth. This was maybe like 2 years ago, and he got a lot of backstage heat for that, where I guess it was like he was outside and Truth did a spot where he jumped out of the ring and he just moved right out of the way.
I know there's a few guys that have come out and they said like they like the Miz, but he does move out of the way of high spots, and then I guess he does. I mean, what can you do?
But Jimmy, I've seen them do that a billion times in a week, right? And for some reason, it just came short. I mean, it fell really, really short.
I mean, I wouldn't really be too excited about doing it if I know this guy outside is known for not catching people.
Oh, so you think it's but he's done that spot a million times on the Miz.
I'm saying, but like, it's only so many times you're like, man, this is going to hurt, so you're kind of a little hesitant anyways, and then he steps, who knows, that's all hearsay. But the actual opening of the show I messed up was the Ascension and the New Age Outlaws, and I have to say, I remember the match being on, but I don't remember a single thing that happened other than the finish.
Well, y'all were watching, because I was trying to get the TV thing right, and then by the time I finally got it hooked up, y'all were watching on the phone. I think it was still just kind of a bit of excitement and how we're going to operate and stuff, so maybe that was a bit of a distraction.
The Ascension did win with their finisher to Billy Gunn. They kind of set it, if I remember correctly, they set it up real nice where, they just like popped up in position, and then all of a sudden you saw what was going to happen. Yeah, and that was the only thing I really remembered. Who was it? Who was it? It was Billy. Was it Billy Gunn? Yeah, it was on Billy Gunn. It was Billy Gunn. He just kind of staggered into the middle, and I was just like, okay, it's going to go down like this. But New Age Outlaws, I guess that was the whole point, to put them over. I think as much as we as guys from the outside looking into what they're doing. I thought they were buried and gone. I thought the New Age Outlaws was going to go in and beat them. I mean, I didn't predict that. Yeah. But I had this idea. I had faith that Ascension was going to go over. Yeah, you picked Ascension. But I'm glad they did it. I want to say, as much as people want to badmouth them, I want to believe in them. I think they stand out still. No more built and bred to rip and shred, none of that fucking nonsense. But I think those guys, you got to give them a chance. And I think this is what's happening. JBL. And if they got to come up and go through a couple of guys, you know what? Let's sit back and wait for this story to happen. And I have no problem with the older guys putting over the younger guys first match in the car. Like, what's wrong with that? It's it's a perfect ideal spot for an older guy, ideal spot for a younger guy, first spot, and not really you always have a problem with like things like in TNA when they use the older guys as the main guys to put people over. But if New Age Outlaws want to come back and wrestle a tag match, not even for the belts.
Yeah, and they can put on it. And they can. The thing is about the Outlaws, even at their age, they still can put up like a really entertaining match. But them winning, I mean, they already had their belt. Like, they already had their comeback, got their belts, held it for a while, lost to the Usos. But I guess the point I'm making is they have nothing to get out of a win, and they essentially had everything to lose in a loss.
Yeah.
So I'm glad they went that direction.
And then next we have it was the Bella Twins versus Natty and Paige. You and Arthur had Natty and Paige. I had, you and Arthur had the Bellas. I had Natty and Paige. Bellas win. Kind of, don't know why I picked them. I guess I was going with my heart there.
Yeah, you go with your mark heart. And in a perfect world, you look at the Bellas and you look at Paige and Natalya. I mean, it's like, you want to talk about like David and Goliath. I mean, in terms of skills and, but you're also looking at, the girls that are literally the focal point, if not of the entire roster right now. I feel like their storyline and who they are as the Bellas is being focused on more than Brock Lesnar, for crying out loud. So, I guess they're going to milk them for what they're worth until they're really old, and then they move on to Paige. But
who knows?
We'll see, man. I mean, it sucks that Paige and Natalya just did have to do the job again to lesser talent, but again, this is the way they want it.
Yeah, moving on, I think we went on to the three-way Cena, Rollins, and Brock Lesnar. Obviously the match of the night, I would say.
I found myself laughing maybe 80% of the entire time.
Oh, yeah. It started out really awesome with Brock just, like, heaving John Cena and Seth Rollins. Just
decimating.
All over the ring. Like,
yeah.
It got to the point toward the 5-minute mark of doing this where Rollins was not even trying to go up, but Brock was just manhandling.
Yeah, I think that was one.
Manhandling him.
Yeah, I think that was one spot where he was just like, I don't want to go. Yeah. And it was a shoot. Like, it seemed that he didn't want to go.
He fell on his arm and his shoulder.
Yeah, that was the bad one. That was the bad one. Yeah.
And then through that, somehow Cena kind of was going over on Brock. He used the steps. He ended up laying Brock on the table. Rollins got the upper hand on Cena, then setting up the big spot from
it was beautiful.
Turnbuckle to table, Rollins with the elbow.
Eddie Guerrero would have been really proud. And you want to say that it was an elbow? I look at that as more of a side frog splash.
Yeah.
Because the way he went up and the way he contorted his body, I mean, an elbow drop is just like you go up, you whip the elbow and you come down. He jumped from at least 12 feet, man. I mean, we're talking like that was a lot farther than that. I mean, we're talking some real distance here.
Yeah.
And he had to basically contort his body in the air to catch more air. And that's what Eddie Guerrero did with his frog splash. Very much like, you remember when it reminded me of when, what are they called? Not the Outsiders, but the Perry Saturn, Guerrero.
Oh, the Radicals? Was that it?
When they debuted.
Yeah.
And Guerrero hit the frog splash. That's what, that was the most beautiful frog. I could watch that over and over and over and over again. It was, I don't think he's ever done a frog splash that beautiful. And that's what this spot reminded me of.
But speaking of, landed beautifully. He did another spot with Cena where they got in the ring, and he did a Phoenix Splash, which is a twisting, like a corkscrew moonsault.
Yeah, this guy is out of his mind.
But for some reason, I never thought to see that. To say I never think I'd see that in a WWE World Title match is ridiculous because I never thought of the thought to not see it. It's like so far out there. It was Hayabusa, which if Fritz would show me these tapes as a kid of FMW, which is like this, like it was pretty much like a hardcore promotion in Japan. They had this guy called Hayabusa. Sabu took a lot of his moves, like especially with the tights and everything. And he did the Phoenix Splash. And John Cena also did. We'll get into it, but Seth Rollins does it, but for some reason he turns, he shifts in the air a little bit, and only his head really hits Cena. Kind of hits.
Don't matter. He still look great.
Yeah, it still look great. But of course, my uncles and everybody's like, oh, we've seen it better in the 90s.
Yeah. Gramps, get off my lawn.
Yeah.
The thing about that is this Seth Rollins and his sort of Weasley attitude character, where he's like positioned and protected. It doesn't really express who he is as an in-ring talent. I mean, it's like night and day. We got this guy who walks around as a chump, but he gets in a ring and he shows his ass.
Yeah.
And the contrast, and this is the fucked up part, where like we've talked about this before. Well, I've brought it up before, maybe, that the reason why you didn't ever think to see this, because he's a heel. Especially coming from him, you know he's capable of doing it.
Yeah.
But he won't do it because he's a heel. Heels aren't supposed to do high-flying tricks. They're just not. You're not supposed to. You're supposed to do eat everything dirty to get ahead, punch, kick him in the nuts, hit you with things, tie you in the ropes, a lot of body slams, a lot of punches. When you're a high flyer, you're a fake. You're babyface. You're Rey Mysterio, right? You're Evan Bourne. You know what I'm saying? You're the fucking Jimmy Five Snuka. And I don't ever remember a heel. I think as much as a heel that I knew that was a high flyer was Macho Man Randy Savage. That's it.
Sure. So Seth Rollins, I mean,
I
feel like
he gets over all those moves a little too much to be a fucking heel, man. That's all I'm saying.
Well, he does certain things that, the "you sold out" chants are definitely over, just with that. So I think, and then his position with the Authority and his promos really help a lot with that. And he doesn't do these moves all the time. I mean, this is the first time we've seen.
But he doesn't even carry himself as a cool heel. He's a jerk.
Yeah.
And when he does shit like that, Phoenix Rising, or he does that spot.
Yep.
That onto Brock Lesnar, we go, God damn it! Why do we gotta hate this guy? I want to love him.
And also, it's rubbing off on Cena, because Cena did the Michinoku driver.
Yeah, he did.
And did the sit-down powerbomb spot where he throws Rollins up, and then the big, which is a very Japanese spot to do. Mm-hmm. But then after that, Brock comes in, kind of cleans up.
Yeah, he cleaned up.
Yeah, takes the cake. So Brock obviously is taking the belt to at least Fastlane, probably Mania.
Fastlane, huh?
And that moves us on to the Royal Rumble match. Started out good with
It started off pretty lame. I mean, in terms of the first two guys.
I mean, Truth and
Give the whole rap again. I guess they were really trying to buy time.
I don't mind Truth, and then Miz. I don't know.
It's the rap. I'm only mean the rap. I'm only talking about the rap.
Yeah, it's
cringeworthy, man.
Yeah, but then the third guy, Bubba Ray Dudley.
Whoop, there it is. Whoop. Come on, dude. Hey, 1994 is calling.
Oh, yeah.
It wants his song back. But anyway, sorry to break you up.
Yeah. Bubba Ray comes back.
Bubba Ray.
Big pop. Obviously, Philadelphia, ECW chants.
The guy has so much charisma, man. I mean,
he does.
He's great. He comes out. He makes a presence.
It's amazing how you can bring people back. They've done it for years now, but even if they're in TNA or doing indies or whatever they're doing, if you bring them back in the Mania, that it's something about the countdown and then the music hitting, people just explode. It's awesome.
And it was by design that he was placed there. The fact that R-Truth was placed second.
And speaking of with our Royal Rumble poll, keeping up with that, I had the Miz and Peter had the Truth, and then Terrence's first guy with Bubba Ray Dudley.
And he pulled out all the stops.
Yep.
He pulled out the stops, and basically R-Truth became Devon. They couldn't get Devon, so they got Truth in there to basically be Devon. And you know what? I don't mind it at all. I don't mind it at all. They played it really well. The fact that he's black could be, that it had to be a black dude in there, it's a little bit suspect. But you know what? Have a little fun sometimes. We're not we're not in the political business here. I mean, like, I look at wrestling like I look at porn. Like, you know, sorry, I don't watch wrestling like I watch porn, but like, porn isn't something that's built around being politically correct. When you got, like, you know, like Asian twats, you know, and like, you know, and sisters, you know, just whatever, man. It's not built to be politically correct. So if R-Truth just happened to be black playing Demon's spots, you know what? It's not like Nelson Mandela's gonna flip over this grave.
And also, R-Truth is one of the only guys that wrestled with the Dudley Boys that's still on the roster. So, like, it made sense, kind of like with the time frame and everything.
It was fun. I think he even wants to bring up the fact that was just some, like, I guess, poor excuse, lame thing. The fact that R-Truth was black. I'm black. Not to say that it doesn't matter that I have a problem with it, but come on, this isn't a PC. It's not. It's rated PG, not PC. So I don't know. Whatever. I didn't have a problem with it. It was fun to watch.
Yeah.
Especially when they did the get the table spot.
Oh yeah.
And then they end up doing the
3D.
Yeah, the 3D. I thought it was beautiful.
And then Harper came out, then Bray came out, then Rowan came out. They kind of that was kind of the end of everybody. Bubba threw out the first two, then Bray threw out Bubba, and then they kind of all the old faction all kind of fought together. Rowan getting tossed out by Harper. And then
but there was a spot where it seemed like it was going to be a reunion, because here's the thing: Rowan wasn't supposed to be in the Rumble. He lost his match. He was one of the 3 participants in that Thursday night SmackDown.
Axel came out,
and Ryback got his spot. Ziggler got his spot. Daniel Bryan got his spot, and Rowan was the odd man out. And when it's so funny because he still hasn't been eliminated. Curtis Axel comes out, Rowan kicks his ass, and that was a really bad spot where he threw him into the barricade. It looked like it really hurt.
Why you gotta do that to Curtis Axel? Man, he's a great wrestler. I'd rather have him not even be on the card than have him have that spot, man.
Did you see his tweet?
No, what did he say?
It was basically like
#real world.
I was never eliminated.
Yeah.
I was never eliminated.
Oh, yeah.
I want my title shot against Brock Lesnar. That was his tweet, and it's just funny. I thought it was great, but he goes in, and there's a stare down, and it's probably the first time that all 3 Wyatts have been in the ring at the same time for quite some time. And there's a stare down. I guess first off. We don't plan to break all these down, right, by the way. Just certain ones. You see Bray and you see Harper. They're first in the ring. You know, and they look like they're having a discussion about how they're gonna do this. Rowan comes out, interrupts Axel, and then there's a stare off between Rowan and Harper. Even though they've been throwing their matches on for free, it still seemed like the crowd was into it.
It's just supposed to forget. A lot of people, I guess, did forget it.
But it's still a hot thing when done right.
Yeah, so that's cool. Maybe we'll see a good Mania match.
Well, hope. I mean, they have to build it up. I mean, they just got to build the right story around it. So they're facing off, and it looks like they're getting along. They both turn around and face Bray Wyatt. They go after Bray Wyatt, but then Harper just basically starts beating on Rowan. And then it's just like, oh, that was just so poorly executed. Don't do that. That's what Cesaro did when they were trolling Cena for the the Survivor Series thing, you know?
Yeah.
Don't do that. That's just low. That's like a low blow to the fans. Because they got hot for that spot, man.
And then, Rowan got thrown out by, Harper threw out Rowan and Bray threw out. They pretty much all threw out each other, but Bray's left in the ring.
Oh yeah.
And then another nostalgia pop. The Boogeyman comes out, which is nostalgia is kind of not the right word. I mean,
don't bring that motherfucker back.
I think he's boys with Booker T, so I think as long as Booker T's in the company, you're gonna see him from time to time.
I hate that gimmick. I hate that fucking gimmick, man.
And then we had a few other guys. We had, Sin Cara, Zack Ryder, pretty much feeding faces to Bray. And
then decimating them.
Yeah, which is awesome. Bray Wyatt getting a little shine. I think he threw like 7 or 8 guys. I think he's tied with Reigns. If I haven't done the math. But
no, Reigns threw out 12 last year.
Well, no, not tied. Last year, I'm saying this year he threw out I think 7 or 8, and Reigns threw out about 7 or 8 this year.
This year?
Yeah, this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then Daniel Bryan comes out. Okay, everyone, big pop. A few other guys come out. Fandango Kid, Stardust. So we're kind of giving, now that we see, Bray get his shine, we see a lot of heels come in for Bryan to start, tossing out. That's what I'm thinking, right? And then the DDP comes out for the nostalgia.
Hey, my pop, it was my mark. Terrence.
Pop is not the word. It was a nostalgia blam.
My mark out moment of the night. Last year was the Ho Train with the Godfather. This year was DDP, who is, again, in my top 3. My 3-man I can't even say it, Mount Rushmore. DDP, Booker T, and Goldust. They're the greatest wrestlers of all time to me. And he came out, man, and it's like, bang! Everyone was into it. Your fucking folks are laughing at me because I'm marking out. Everyone in the place is looking at me like I'm going crazy. But I'm like, this is my mark out moment. Terrence, you missed it, dude. You missed it.
But it was short-lived because Rusev came out, threw him out.
But he dropped, 4? He dropped 4 diamond cutters?
Oh, yeah. He came, yeah, of course, DDP came and kind of cleared house a little bit, People weren't expecting. They're kind of rusty on their diamond cutter defense in WWE.
Well, they're used to... The thing is with the diamond cutter, it's more set up than it is out of nowhere, which is pretty cool. I think the only out of nowhere spot, he stands him up and he drops him. Who was it, Fandango that came off the rope? Or
I think so,
he got him off the rope? Yeah, dude. Yeah, I was bang.
And then they did a cool spot where Goldust comes out, Kofi comes out, then when Adam Rose is coming out, Rusev is about to press slam.
That was great.
Yeah, and the Rosebuds catch him.
The execution was horrible.
Oh, of the Kofi thing?
Yeah, I mean,
I thought it was good.
I thought out of nowhere it happened. I like how out of nowhere it happened, but it's like the weakest Kofi Kingston spot in Royal Rumble.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think they kind of ran out of stuff. I mean, the chairs, the rail, the running, the steps, handstand, everything.
But then, as you would say, jump the shark with that one.
That one, because it wasn't any kind of athleticism on his end.
No, it was a prop move. It was a jump the shark prop move. Like, really, the Rosebuds, really, and they're gonna just carry him around and put him back on there. Like, there's no more spots for Kofi Kingston in the Royal Rumble ever again. That's it.
And then, but prior to that happening, actually, there was a big moment where Bryan runs at Rusev backdrops him, so Bryan's on the apron, outside apron, and then Bray comes in and knocks Bryan off. So, the crowd was stunned. I was stunned.
I think all of us was.
I think we thought it was an accident. We I remember that for a minute after it happened. We were like, this was an accident. And then we kept watching. We're like, no, it wasn't. It was meant to happen.
Who was I? Maybe I listened to Torch. I shouted them out too much. I love their shit. I should get a subscription. I love the Torch. But that was part of the discussion there too. It's like when I first saw it, I thought it was a botch.
Yeah.
It's like, is that really supposed to happen?
Because it wasn't. You'd think if they were eliminating Bryan, it'd be like this a big thing. But
nope. It was just like And this is what I was getting at when we did our predictions. I was like, maybe I voted for him to win, but I'm like, he doesn't need to win. But I didn't think he was gonna not win like that.
Yeah,
okay. I think Fandango had a better fucking toss out than more epic toss out than Bryan did, and he sat there and you've seen Total Recall, haven't you? You remember Total Recall?
Yeah, with
Arnold Schwarzenegger
going to Mars and everything.
In the first scene where the guy lands on the planet and his helmet comes off and he basically there's no oxygen, so his face basically explodes. Right? His face puffs up because there's no oxygen. The air got sucked out of that room so badly after that. I mean, just gasp.
But the crowd openly booing
That's what it was like. I mean, it was like total recalling. There was no air in there. I bet motherfuckers were passing out because no air was in that motherfucker, man.
It was definitely stunned for a while, but that was all building up for just Roman Reigns to come out. He comes out through the crowd to a chorus of boos. People were just booing the shit out of him, which is supposed to be the total face spot coming down out of the crowd, like Sandman, all these other guys. Whatever, he's in the ring now. Big E, Mizdow does a spot where Miz tries to get in there.
Yeah.
Roman doesn't have it, throws him out, and then Mizdow goes in, and it gets thrown out right away by Rusev.
And he goes back to Mizdow.
Yeah.
Sits down and complains on himself.
Which is, I think if they let him, they could have saved the crowd by having a little bit more Mizdow, just something to make people forget about Bryan, but they just threw Mizdow, another smart mark favorite. Then we started getting Swagger, Ryback, Kane, Ambrose, Titus O'Neil, Bad News Bear, Cesaro, Big Show, and Ziggler to wrap up the Rumble. And Kane and Big Show started kind of teaming up, taking out all the faces. It got kind of boring there. I would say kind of stale toward the end. They were tossing them out like rag dolls.
Yeah, I thought that was making them so weak. I mean, I just sort of...
Guys like Dean Ambrose, who you put over all year long in cell matches and things like that. Bray Wyatt, who you put over being in this match for 40 minutes. Ziggler, who won the Survivor Series.
Just kind of dumped out the ring. Just kind of like they're he's been a dick. He was a dick like 5 times, and he just knocks out these guys cold. And him and Kane are just basically tossing them out like you said, like rag dolls. And it's like, man, this is not doing this wrong.
It's not doing any. And then of course they have this cold, calculated plan, and they just turn on each other like a bunch of dumb heels. It's like, well, you have this whole authority, like master scheme behind everything, and then all of a sudden, like, you guys are just gonna bicker right at the last second. Like, I feel like if you have everything organized to that extent in storyline, you're not gonna do some shit like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's for Harper and Rowan, the big meathead guys to do. But if you're corporate, Kane and Big Show are supposed to be like playing main event heels for veterans.
Oh, by the way, so apparently, you remember when Titus O'Neil runs in?
Yeah.
And he gets eliminated quickly, and I'm like, oh man, I think that was a botched over the rope, toss out. Apparently, it was. Titus O'Neil was supposed to beat the record for the quickest toss out. That was planned, and I think he self-botched it. I think he came in a little too much.
Yeah,
on purpose. And I'm like, well, how like it was talking about earlier. Like I was listening earlier to Torch. He was like, well, how are you supposed to beat 1 second? Like it's like a tap in. Like if there's 0.4 seconds left on the clock, you can't grab the ball and shoot. You have to tap it out. So it's like, you run up in the ring, you touch the ring, what are you expecting? That someone's going to get tossed out in 0.7 seconds? That's just unheard of. But I do think it was pretty entertaining that he botched his own potential record. Yeah. Reset. I mean, good for Titus.
And then, Reigns throws Kane and Big Show over. Then Kane and Big Show completely, the crowd at this point is just irate, booing, except for one guy in a white hat. I think he's third row at the railing at the entrance. He's got his Roman Reigns shirt on. He's stoked, but everyone else in Philadelphia can't stand it.
But it took just a millisecond to realize that Rusev hadn't been eliminated yet. When they started yelling it, like I didn't know.
You're jumping.
If he'd already thrown them out. No. We're gonna get that. I wasn't jumping. I know. I see what you're saying, but I'm saying like they start yelling for Rusev immediately.
Yeah, which I don't think they were supposed to do. I think they were kind of being smart asses.
Yeah, they were. They were.
I mean, what do you expect, WB? But then The Rock comes out. I mean, I know like The Rock is Reigns' cousin and everything, but like there's no mention of that before,
What the Rock? What?
Why is The Rock there to help Reigns? Like why?
Well, he posted something earlier. I mean, he posted on Twitter that he was in town.
Oh, really?
So everyone knew he was going to show up in one shape, form, or fashion, but we didn't know where. Now, continue.
Yeah, so The Rock helps Reigns take down Big Show and Kane, and then they kind of...
He drops a fucking people's elbow. That's money.
It's crazy because people are cheering when Rock comes out, but then whenever he does any kind of interaction with Reigns, like picking up his hand, touching, booing again. They don't...
Yeah.
It's... Which I thought that if you put him with The Rock, it would be at least silent. I didn't think they would still boo him. I thought they would be like, okay, well, we don't know what to think.
Well, I just think it was bad timing. Yeah, he went in for the save, and I gotta give credit where credit's due. Whenever The Rock comes back, there's Jerry King Lawler. It's almost like he has Alzheimer's. You know, when The Rock shows up, he goes back into like Jerry King Lawler mode.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what it is about The Rock that awakens him, but he does the most electrifying move in sports entertainment. That's it actually was just so cool to hear
him enthusiastic again.
Yeah, and like this is no one else could call that spot. Michael Cole cannot call that spot. JBL cannot call that spot. There's only one person
that can call many spots.
Call the people's elbow. Even and God bless JR. He's called the people's elbow. It is the people's elbow. Like Jerry King Lawler calls the best people's elbow, and that moment in itself was something that it meant a lot to me as a wrestling fan. For that combination to be met up once again, because it's been a while. It had been a long while. Yeah, since we've heard it. But
yeah, and then after that kind of ordeal happens, then Rusev pops up, which is kind of that revealing. You know, he hadn't really ever been thrown out. It was supposed to be a suspenseful spot, but crowd had already given it away.
I still wasn't bought though.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, he wasn't tossed out. That's
No, as soon as he came out, I was just like, oh, what the fuck is this? And then all of a sudden, I was just pissed that they did it to even make Rusev look that dumb. Or worst case scenario, if Reigns was going to throw, then Rusev went. I did not want any of that to happen.
But that was the Bo Dallas spot from last year. Bo Dallas did the same exact thing, and the year before that, I think, was Santino.
I don't know if it was exactly 2 years, but yeah, I think that's why I was created for Santino for a comedy spot. So,
but that Santino spot, it was sort of like a comedy spot, but like that was like the winter
for that one time.
That was like the winter of Santino, you know, because he went into the elimination chamber, and people were red hot for him, and it looked like he was about to win. And when he lost, man, I started crying. You know, I was beat up, but this was something serious. That turned like that committed spot that like you were just like, oh man, there's a chance that this guy could actually win, to just a spot that was to only make someone look strong.
Yeah, not that good of a Rumble. The crowd hated it. I was really Rumble's my favorite pay-per-view of the year. I like the whole undercard was happening. I was like, okay, that's fine, whatever. Let's get to the real stuff. Then the triple threat happened. I was excited. It was a great match. Every wrestler in that match busted their ass, including Cena. And Cena played his part.
Of course he did.
Yeah. When, Cena coming out, even, getting booed, coming out with the never give up thing, it was just, everyone played their role perfect in that match. And then the Royal Rumble, I mean, it's kind of hard to be a wrestler when they're just booing everything you do, no matter what you do, like, there's supposed to be all these fun spots, like the Kofi spot,
but Rock. It's Philadelphia, and let's just say they would have done it, say, in New York. I mean,
I think the same thing would happen.
They're marks, but they're not that... They're not like Philly marks.
If you did not have Bryan win anywhere in the Northeast or any big city would boo. I think
for Bryan it'd be anywhere. It'd be fucking Antarctica.
Well, that's why they were booing. That's why they were booing. I don't know. I do not think they were. I don't think people weren't mad that Reigns won, but that's worse because I don't think people care enough about Roman Reigns to be upset or happy. I think they were just booing that Bryan didn't win.
Well, they're booing Reigns. It's just like don't spoon feed us this guy that we think isn't ready. All of a sudden, everyone's a fucking wrestling booker. All of a sudden, he's not ready. I've talked about this before. Put that shit to bed. You don't book wrestling matches. You don't book television shows.
But I've watched enough to see that he exposes it. He exposes the art.
Well, I made a post on the Solid Monster page, and that was one of my things. It's like, look, if you don't want to like the guy, you don't have to like the guy. whatever. I mean, I don't have a dog in this fight. I'm just someone who watches wrestling. It's not my company, and at the same time, I'm not someone who's just gonna nitpick and bitch and moan and whine about it. I'm not. I'm just not. He's in there just like everyone else was in there, and when they got their opportunity, on social media, you just kind of went with it, you know. And I'm not saying go with it. Not saying that like there's like some domestic sexual assault or just go with it, you know. We're not drunk.
Just to let you guys know, Terrence had reigns. He got reigns throughout. Let's see who had Kane. Kane also. I had Kane, and then Big Show was I had Big Show. So I was looking good there toward the end. I had two guys throwing everyone out, but Reigns took it.
And I had all the black guys except Boogeyman.
Yo, Kofi.
I had Kofi.
No, Arthur had Kofi.
Arthur had Kofi.
But at the time, you said that you had all the black guys because Boogeyman is not black. He's Boogie. And that cracked me.
He's not black. He's Boogie.
You just said that. I was just like, well, everyone else was kind of like, what? Okay. And I was just like over there like cracking up.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, I just the kid is given an opportunity that I think, for what it's worth, whether I feel that he deserves it or he is ready or not ready or not, this is Kevin Dunn and Vince McMahon's doing. For everything that they're doing, it's everything that's happening with Roman Reigns, which is funny because, you know, the Raw show was completely contradictory to what we've been subjected to until that fucking
Roman Reigns,
until that moment.
Let's just dive into that. Like what the blizzard and everything happened, so they couldn't do like necessarily a live Raw, so they just did a bunch of interviews, and one of them was Roman Reigns. And what'd you think about that? Let's just not go chronologically. Let's just go. Okay.
Well, the Roman, he's still even talking. I don't think this was scripted. I just think that he just needs to get better with public speaking. I think he needs to be, when the camera's on him and he has to open his mouth, I think it's just a problem for him. For him to really let out smoothly how he feels. Because to a certain degree, he's not ready, but this is still pretty new to him. But everyone, it's not like he's the only person that hasn't, and I sound like an apologist, but I'm not trying to be an apologist here. He's not like Bret Hart, you know. It took him a while to sort of get the rough edges off, you know. It took a while for fucking Michaels to get used to being on the microphone. I mean, it took a lot of people a lot of time, but if they go with this and he could be himself, he could work out those kinks a little bit faster. That's all. And I think for what they were trying to get out of that was just like what they should have been doing the entire time. I think
like a little, like not personality, but like a little personal with him. Like he was going over how his family, he grew up there, and
this is the Heyman shit, right? Oh, wait a minute.
No. Well, he had one interview, and then I think they did one interview where he was talking about, and then Heyman, he discussed that he grew up in the business prior to Heyman coming out. Okay. And then Heyman and Brock came out. What did you think about that?
My thing is talk about the Brock face off, the Brock and
the Brock and Reigns face.
It gave it a big fight feel, which I thought is really needed going towards WrestleMania, because we're gonna get it. This is what's gonna happen. So make this as big of a deal as possible. You get two people that are rough around the edges talking to one another. That's why Heyman got to talk so much. It's hard for me to take Reigns as a big deal compared to Brock Lesnar. By the time it was done and they're staring each other down, I was like, okay, this is a start for me to actually take this match seriously. And the magic of the WWE, I mean, they got a wand that they use every once in a while to whip it out and make everything look really big and beautiful and flowery and sparkly. And I think because Roman Reigns is as big as he is, he's going to have to hit the weights a little bit harder, though. He's going to have to fill up a little bit. You know, I feel like he's going to have to pump some iron a little bit. He's going to have to fill out because when they meet at WrestleMania, you know Brock's going to hit the fucking weights. And he's going to come out looking like a damn cobra. Like a damn, you know, like a...
gigantic.
He's going to be swole.
Yeah.
And if Reigns is still the size that he is going into that, it's going to be hard to believe. And they're going to have to show Reigns just really like, you know, what they do with Cena sometimes, where they show him in The Rock, show him working out, show him getting trained, you know, throw the whole Rocky routine on him, man.
Yeah, for sure.
You're going to have to. But
well, another thing that could help him out is if Rock comes out and him, Paul and Rock have a mouth off, and Reigns and Brock are just standing there.
But that's the thing. I think he has to stand on his own 2 feet. And that was something I didn't appreciate about the Royal Rumble, we was talking about at the end, was why does I think he's the first ever Rumble winner that had to have someone come out and vouch for him as the fucking winner. Right?
Well, no, because he was getting attacked at the end.
No, but I'm talking about afterwards. After Rock runs back in there, after he throws out Rusev, he raises his hand. And I go, did that happen to Shawn Michaels? Did that happen to Ric Flair? Did that happen to Stone Cold Steve Austin? Did that happen to The Rock?
You know? I did not.
And I just go like, look, dude, if you want to take the training wheels off this motherfucker, take the training wheels off. Let him do this. I don't think
I agree.
He needs help. I mean, he needs help, but like let him grow a set of balls. Let him fucking bust his ass a couple of times. I think watching him fail and bust his ass and fuck up is only gonna make us that much more connected to his character as he gets better, I believe.
And we also they showed they recapped the three-way match and the Rumble on the Raw, which I mean, I think I would have, you know, I guess given the circumstances, whatever. I mean, if I paid for pay-per-view and I knew you could already get it for $9.99 and then they gave it to me for free anyways, I definitely...
The next day, hell, they wouldn't even show pictures. They would just show snapshots.
Yeah.
The next day. But they're like, fuck this, we just have to play this whole thing out.
I mean, I guess they're just trying to work with that whole Blizzard thing and get over the storylines. I didn't have that big of a problem with it.
It was needed. You think it was a blessing from God that snowstorm came through the way it did for them to reshape how they were going to model these top guys. It was a beautiful thing. What they did with Seth Rollins, what they did with Roman Reigns, what they did with Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman. Hell, what they ended up doing with Dean Ambrose. I think it all just worked itself out so great that they didn't have to go into an arena the next day and just get hit with fucking... You know, I feel... What's the word? It was a mulligan.
Yeah, I think... This was a good...
they got a mulligan.
Yeah, Mother Nature was looking out for Vince.
You think?
I mean, Vince already beat God and Shawn Michaels.
She only works for two people. Vince McMahon and Roger Goodell.
Yeah.
And that's it, dude. You know, a snowstorm... like
Another guy who stood out to me on the Raw was Seth Rollins. I really feel like
that was awesome.
His chicken shit heel promo and then all of a sudden he's like, oh, well, Lesnar's gonna have to get me out of this chair. And then as soon as Lesnar steps up,
smug. He was so smug about it.
As soon as Lesnar steps up to him, he gets up, dusts it off, like acting like an asshole, then tips it over.
Yeah. And it's like, even though
I wanted to
he's
beat his
chicken shit, he's still like...
He's so good at it, you know?
He's able to get away with it. He was able to basically be an asshole to Brock Lesnar and knock his chair over. That been me and you, he would have fucked us up.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think Brock likes him. I think that's the thing. I think he gets a kick out of him to let him be a jerk to him like that. You know what I'm saying? If it makes any sense. For him to basically like, what, you know... Okay, there's one moment where I don't know if he suffered I don't know if that's a work or what, but he says he suffered a broken rib after that spot from the top rope onto the Spanish announce table. He's like, this kid is actually a scrappy dude. I don't really want to find myself tangled up with him so often. So yeah, have your little fun, have your little snarky, smug moment where you knock over my chair and try to act tough.
Yeah.
Go ahead and have it. Whatever, dude.
Well, it's also funny, the whole idea that he's just like, well, Lesnar's just going to have to make me get out of it.
Yeah.
And then as soon as those shuts up, he gets out of it.
But he knocks it over, though.
Yeah. That's the best part. Yeah. Then at the end, you're just like, oh, what an asshole.
And then the production comes in. It becomes like almost like a moment.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It breaks the fourth wall a little bit. That's what I guess what they say. It breaks the fourth wall a little bit. You get the guys coming out. They're setting up the table. There's no cut. They just they actually get it all together right there to make it look like it was an actual moment, which I thought played it cool.
Then what did you think of the Bryan promo? I'm kind of like,
geez, I fell asleep. I paid it no mind. I was just looking at Snapchat.
Yeah, it was kind of hard because you just wanted him to win the Rumble. You're still kind of like, oh, come on. And then you kind of get the feeling of what are they going to do with him at Mania. So,
well, he's vanilla. I mean, like, when it comes to the whole thing, not call him vanilla. I guess I mean to say, like, it's the same thing every time. Now, he's talking about what the people want. And he has no qualms in talking about what the people want. And his situation and the fact that people expected him to win. And I know people are upset I didn't win, blah, 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 blah. But, like, how... I felt like it was just going to be basically him... I expected everything to come out of his mouth that came out of his mouth. So I just kind of sat down on Snapchat and kind of passively listened to it.
Yeah, it wasn't too exciting. And then I guess the other big news that they announced was Rusev and Cena at Fastlane.
That's going to be that's going to be a basically what they did for Survivor Series into TLC with Bray Wyatt and Ambrose. It's going to be a wash. It's going to be a bump finish, and they're going to take it into WrestleMania.
Whatever, that might be.
They gotta build the story, and I wouldn't be surprised if they call the match because Rusev stomps a mud hole in his ass.
They gotta make him look clean though. You gotta think Cena beat Rollins one pay-per-view, but I think other than that, he hasn't really looked good in a lot of pay-per-views.
Good, because it boils down to WrestleMania and him becoming Super Cena. I thought all the odds have been thrown at him. I mean, Rusev hasn't really come off as like a real asshole. Yeah. He hasn't come off. He got to go into the role WrestleMania, which is going to be his first WrestleMania, right? He's going to go in and people are going to be chanting USA.
No, I think second Mania, right? He beat Swagger. No. Right?
That was SummerSlam.
Yeah, he came.
But he wasn't even in the Andre the Giant Rumble. I mean, I think he debuted pretty much after WrestleMania.
Well, damn.
Yeah, because that was last year. I cut my hair. I got to see him at the house show, and yeah, he hadn't really stepped in the scene yet. He was still down in NXT and doing house shows, kind of developing his character. His in-ring character, and then now his personality. They put Lana with him, and yeah, this will be his first WrestleMania, and he's going in there with like Sergeant Slaughter heel heat. Yeah. Like this is gonna have like 90,000 people in there just screaming USA.
It's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be awesome, USA, and Cena's gonna go in there and he's gonna slay the Savage Beast like Lex Luger did to Yokozuna. That's all it is going to be. It is going to be great. And we're going to all cheer for this motherfucker. I mean, even the marks are going to cheer for Cena for this. Unless they be like, oh God, he's getting fed to Cena. I don't want him to be fed to Cena. I think they could do something. They could do something else with Cena, but hey, why not? If he's being, as we speak, being replaced.
I just want to. The only thing I'm worried about happening in Mania this year is Sting facing Triple H and losing. If that happens, that's pretty much the ultimate. In my eyes, Sting is the ultimate babyface. and Triple H is my least favorite heel of all time. So if
that's pretty brutal.
And if Sting loses Triple H, I'm gonna go 1 year without watching WWE.
Oh, but that ain't gonna happen. Don't even put up a bet like that you know that you're gonna fucking win. Don't do that.
I'm just saying, man. Sting's gotta win, man. Sting cannot lose to Triple H.
He's not going to lose to Triple H, man.
I hope not.
No, you gotta put up a better weight. You gotta put up something else. If Sting wins, because you fear that he will lose.
Yes.
If Sting wins, you buy me a fucking fifth Fireball.
Wait. What? I gotta buy you.
Yes, you got to, because
I'm gonna buy you something Sting wins.
It reminds
man.
me on the Dan Patrick show when fucking Fritz, who is like a big Broncos fan, he's talking down about the Broncos because they weren't doing so well. Say, hey, what's this day shit? You know, Dan Patrick calls him out. He goes, oh, no more. You can never wear no more Broncos gear. You can't wear Broncos gear in here no more, right? Around the AFC Championship, Fritzy shows up in a Broncos jersey.
Yeah.
And Pat, the fuck you doing? I told you no more. Like you fell out of faith, and now you must pay the consequences. And made him wear an Andrew Luck shirt, Andrew Luck jersey. Made him wear a Colts hat and an Andrew Luck jersey. And this is where I'm saying with you. You don't make a claim doubting that Sting is going to lose.
I got you.
Right? So if Sting wins, this is my thing.
I gotta buy you a Fireball.
You gotta buy me a Fireball.
That's fine.
And if Sting loses, you don't watch wrestling for a year. Now you're getting
loses to Triple H.
Yeah, loses to Triple H. Yeah, you said you will stop watching.
I'm
wrestling.
saying like if they book it differently, where Sting faces Bray, Seth Rollins, anyone, Cena, I don't care. It doesn't matter. But if Sting loses to Triple H, not wrestling WWE. We'll switch over to Lucha Underground podcast. We'll call it Ring of Honor podcast.
Oh, you would have to leave for a year, huh?
The WWE.
Yeah, you're gonna have to leave the Peter Jake.
Oh, and NXT. Yeah, that counts.
Oh wow. Well, no. That's a different. Yeah. I'm gonna rake you over the coal. But so it would be like Peter and Arthur? Hell no! Sting's not losing, okay? I'm just letting you know. Just letting you know.
All right. Well, we don't have to worry about it. We'll figure it out in the coming weeks.
But I guess something I want to also... are we done with Raw? The Raw show?
Yeah, I mean, it was...
I guess, yeah, something I just wanted to bring up, and I guess this is the... this is all WWE's fault. This backlash. This is their fault. Because I remember when I first started watching Raw again. And again, we're talking 2008. I started rewatching wrestling, started watching Raw. And I was on Twitter and I'd just be hashtagging Raw and hashtagging, who was fighting each other. And about 7 to 8 to 10 months later, they started addressing the hashtags. Then they're telling us what we should hashtag.
Yeah. And
telling us, getting us involved. And, and all the things of that nature. Now, what you're doing when you're addressing social media, you're opening up a can of worms to the voices, right? And wrestling fans with this whole Royal Rumble, or say what happened with Boycott Chicago, you're listening. When you acknowledge that this thing is here, you're going to entitle these people to let you know how they fucking feel and how they're going to organize and how they're going to do this and how they're going to do this. Fucking 3 days straight. You know what the number one trend of Twitter is?
Yeah.
Cancel WWE Network.
Yeah.
And it's like everyone's sitting back like, why is this happening? I said, well, this is what WWE asked for. you're acknowledging the number one hashtag in the country right now, Cena versus Wyatt. You're doing that.
So you put the power in the hashtag, so that's the only thing they feel they have power of. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like it's their fault. Maybe this will be a sign where they'll probably back off of it a little bit. Because I know they want that whole Twitter, social media, domination, which they do dominate. But at the same time, with all that domination comes a lot of the dominant scrutiny. Because it's not like people are talking shit about Pepsi. You know what I'm saying? It's not like people are talking shit about... Could you imagine unsubscribe Hulu?
Yeah.
Could you imagine unsubscribe Netflix? That being the number one trend in the world? Could you imagine? I couldn't imagine it. I could not even come close to imagining it. So when you're trying to place yourself up with the big boys, you're trying to compare yourself with all of those sort of Netflix, Hulu, Plus, and all that shit. Those companies are nowhere going to make it happen to where they're going to have their customers.
Yeah. They're not going to screw up that bad.
Yes. So maybe this is all a work, but they should turn it into a work. They should turn this entire situation into a work.
How would they do that? How do you think?
Oh yeah, we saw this. You think we're stupid? We don't see the hashtags? We don't see that stuff? We don't care what you think. You want to get some heel heat? It's like we do things our way. We've been doing it our way for ages. And whether you like it or not, you're just going to fucking have to just keep unsubscribing. And we're going to cater to the people who actually like us. And you know what? A lot of people do like us because all of this hashtag cancel the subscription shit. Meanwhile, we hit 1 million subscribers. Yeah. Eat a dick, Marks. You know what I'm saying? And you're talking about heat. And you look at me. I'm Mark Markson. I'm like, he has a point. We are a loud minority and nothing more. So I'm going to have to make a executive decision to either just go with this, shut my mouth, because I've never booked a show in my damn life. I've never wrestled. I've never done anything in my life. I just watch the show and sit behind a computer and on my phone and bitch and moan about how someone's not ready, or stop watching. Because you know what? They were there before you, and they're going to be there after you. And they're going to keep doing their shit. If they would have happened to turn that shit into that, my Lord. I pray that they do that. Stephanie and fucking Triple H come out, and they just tell the marks of the WWE universe to eat a dick.
I don't think that's happening anytime soon.
It would be so beautiful.
That's true. Well, I mean, are you excited for Raw coming tomorrow?
I don't know. Am I excited for Raw? What's tomorrow's Thursday? I won't be able to catch it live. I'm gonna have to watch it Friday because I'm
neither. And you're gonna review that with Newman?
I'll probably end up reviewing it with Newman.
Sounds cool.
I wanted to do more talk about more news with him, and I guess we'll go through Raw and I'll see what he has to say, because who's to say that the podcast that he's on, he's gonna have to do a review, and I don't know if he wants to have dueling reviews.
Nice.
Maybe I'll figure something out if I just have to do it by myself. I don't mind doing it by myself. I just hate doing it by myself. Oh well. But the 1 million subscribers, I wanted to talk about what the hell was the other thing? What's been the news? What's been in the news? These two wrestlers from NXT filing a lawsuit about concussions.
Oh, I didn't know about that. Justin Gabriel quit.
And Justin Gabriel quitting.
Apparently he didn't. He just upped and quit. Apparently it was his own thing. I know there's a lot of stuff on. They said a lot of things on Twitter about how he got fired for saying stuff, but apparently that was the Twitter rant was after he had already quit. He said he could probably he likes wrestling, and they're not going to ever use him as much as he's being used right now.
I'd imagine it's like he was put on false pretense that he was going to come up from this. They want to build him up to be like at least a baby face. At least this baby face, you know, he was actually going to be on the main roster somehow, and he was going to be like this, if not like headlining WrestleMania, but he would at least get like a good mid-card feud as a baby face.
Yeah, that's what I was saying too.
And that's that whole foreign accent thing, though. That's that whole like Vince thing. I mean, it's like, oh, he can't connect with the people, and I'm like, he doesn't have to connect with the people. That motherfucker can fly through the air all day. You know, you gonna do it with fucking Evan Bourne. Why can't you do it with this guy? You know, and he ain't getting doped up. That guy's nose is clean as hell.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna still follow him. I'm gonna see what he does. Maybe he'll
show up in Lucha Underground.
Yeah, something. I mean,
that would be awesome.
That would be perfect for him, actually. Or maybe even just casual indie dates. I mean, whatever he wants to. Japan.
I say throw on a mask. He's a pretty boy. It'd be tough for him to put on a mask, you know?
Yeah.
But you know what? Let's just say he threw on a mask. I think it would be something. It would be money. And he just went out and he didn't really expose himself as Justin Gabriel. You would know it was him, but you wouldn't really know it was him. And he just went out and he was this high flyer guy flying around and cutting like fucking badass promos about how like he's gonna, you know, just, I don't know, but he's just, you know, basically pulling AJ Styles.
Yeah.
But not with a hood, but with a mask.
The wrestling hood.
So, are we good? We good for this edition of Peter and Jake Talks Wrasslin?
Yeah, I feel like the short Raw kind of cut into the time. I mean,
I think an hour is good enough for a pay-per-view and a show, pseudo show at this time. Plug again. Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling. We're trying to expand. We're taking our time because we got nothing but time on our side. But we want to give you more content. We want to give you guys more opportunities to interact with us, and we want to provide you more review content and reviewable content and options, I guess, to other podcasts to listen to. You know, like. We got Faster Than
the World. Yeah.
Faster Than the World. We have Peter Jake Talks Wrestling. We also have Peter Talks Wrestling With. And again, that's going to be with people that I know from Twitter. And we're just going to talk about wrestling topics and news. I hope by next week to start putting up reviews of NXT. Of Lucha Underground and New Japan from Access. We call that from east to west, being the east being Japan and the west being LA for Lucha Underground. And I also, the other night I went to bed, I was watching AWA. I was watching Crockett, which was
Mid-Atlantic.
MAW. And I thought for a sec, I should do like, because they got full shows on those. I want to start doing shows, like reviews on like Mid-Atlantic wrestling shows.
That'd be all. Yeah, I would.
Like just sort of nostalgia, like just
there with you, man.
That'd be awesome. Just that, and I'm also reading John Hitchcock.
Yeah, what did you think about this book?
I'm only like 50 pages in right now, but I'm reading this book called
Front Row Section D.
Front Row Section D. And you probably know more of the backstory of this book than I do. I'm just starting to read it.
Well, it got that name because in the Greensboro Coliseum, that was a big hotbed for Mid-Atlantic wrestling in the 70s and 80s. And there was always this group of people that sat in the front row of Section D. And that's John Hitchcock, Bruce Mitchell, who writes for PW Torch now, my Uncle Bud, a bunch of guys, and they would just cheer for the bad guys or chill for the heels in like an era where you just didn't do that. And there was just all kinds of stories of them doing that, like riling everyone up, and like certain wrestlers like egging them on and stuff. And John Hitchcock, he's been a manager in wrestling for a while. He actually managed the Iron Sheik. I don't know if that's in the book. And he's just been around, like knows a few people in the industry and everything now. Owns a comic book shop, parts unknown. But he's writing this book, kind of like all these stories about, just wrestling in the 80s, being a big super fan in the 80s.
And I'm reading the book now, and hopefully after it's done, we will have him on the podcast to talk about the book. But, I'm taking my sweet time. We got nothing but time. That's the beauty about this. We have no deadlines here.
The book has already happened,
Yeah, we got no deadlines here. We just flying it by ear because we're just fans, just like you, and we just love the world of wrestling. Again, this isn't a business, but it's pretty fun to be involved with doing this. And I went to GoDaddy the other day and bought a pjtwcentral.com. So, and those are going to be the links. Rather than to send you to YouTube and all that place, we will just be able to send you to that one-stop shop to be able to get all the links to be able to listen to this podcast along with the other podcasts that we plan on presenting to all three of you listening. I don't mean to bury the podcast. I'm just being funny. But the people are listening, and we do appreciate it. Thank you so much for being listeners to the Peter Jake Talks Wrestling podcast.
Later.
And yeah, see ya. PJTW Central at Twitter. And
JG Pro Wrestling. At JG Pro Wrestling on Twitter.
Look out for that Faster Than the World. And look out for Peter Talks Wrestling, which will be the Raw review for this week. I guess will be SmackDown. Super SmackDown.
Yep.
And it'll be coming to you Friday. So, peace.
Later.
You have been listening to Peter and Jake Talks Wrasslin podcast. Please tune in next week.